Thanks for staying with us. So reports of the Bethel students on release reminds us again of the issue of insecurity in our land and what the government is doing concerning it to curb and stop this before it gets totally and completely out of hand. In reports that we had today, even in Daily Trust and I think also in Punch, they were suggesting that some kidnappers are actually collecting ransom via the banks, the financial institutions. And Daily Trust report specifically said that they tried to trace the name of there's a particular woman that was abducted, I think, at the Madala Junction, and she paid 500,000 naira into a specific account to be released. And then they tried to see if they can find the roots of this, but obviously there was difficult. And the Daily Trust correspondent had spoken to Mr. Yakubu, Umar Yakubu, who was a financial crimes expert and former EFCC Financial Crimes Commission officer, where he's saying that detecting kidnappers these days is becoming a political choice because other parts of the world where criminals like this are taken, they're handled 100% by the system. But now, because these people have the audacity and confidence to even use the financial system, it means that they know they cannot get caught. So when we are faced with these kinds of situations, what do we do?
It is impossible for people to get 100 million naira and that money disappears. It's impossible. Ransom monies, we've now, it's not like this thing is larger than life. It's not. It's not impossible to find these people if we have a willing set of hands working, all hands on deck to say we must find these monies, we've marked it anywhere the money shows up in bank because that money can't be spent like that. There are many ways this money comes out, but are we really tracing the monies? And until we create a very, very strong, death sentence on any found kidnapper, we are not going to solve this problem.
Yes.
And it's not death sentence that they'll leave them in the prison for 5 years. Death sentence like the way we used to, when we were dealing with armed robbery, that they take them to Bar Beach and shoot them. You know, firing squad. Yeah. That is the kind of death sentence we need to have for kidnappers as soon as they are caught.
Orayo, it's the audacity for me. The audacity of using the system to carry out crime and to carry out crime so openly and so easily without getting caught. First of all, we've now moved to banks. We have talked and complained about tracing numbers. They say they used phone numbers to call to ask for this ransom. They're on the phone for minutes and minutes on end. I mean, abroad and on the movies, we see that, I just need you to keep him on the phone for 5 seconds. And in that 5 seconds, I will catch the person. Here, they have conversation, they are gisting, they are saying, no, come back, no. They are even negotiating over, and we cannot trace them. Of course, the next thing is to do banks. Next thing, they will knock on your door and say, I've come to collect the ransom. Because obviously, there's a system that does not work.
Nima, they have the account number here. The name of the account is Badawi Abba Enterprise.
BVN.
They have BVN. You have all these.
The audacity.
So I don't understand why this is so difficult for the Nigerian government to curb.
So we have governments sitting and watching. And you see this Daily Trust report about paying through accounts is not news.
It's not.
On the Benin-Ore Expressway, most kidnapped victims, when they come out, say, I just paid. Is alert. And, you know, for me, at this point, is the trauma that they go through make the victims unwilling to even go and make a report so that the police will start to follow through. Then when you give a police an account number that says, I paid here, this is what I paid for and everything, and they are wasting time because you're not high profile, you're not, government official, it is not making news headlines enough to shake tables. We see every time our kidnappers come back, they report that their people were kidnapped, they report that they paid ransom. Nobody is following through. We know government does not have the will to follow through and make an example of
I was watching
an
interview very recently where somebody was saying that the sponsor, we're talking about sponsors of these bandits for years, and to today, no one has been arrested. Some government will say, we have their names, we know who they are.
We'll start calling them out.
We have a case. We have a case where Wadume was a high-profile kidnap kingpin in this country.
And he was arrested.
And on his way to get into, he was released in a Van Damme style of movie. Till today, by army. And till today, he named the army officials who killed 3 policemen in this country.
And we have not gotten a verdict?
His verdict, have we started arraignment? Have we prosecuted? Verdict, Bawo. And the matter is sitting silent in this country. This man was claiming, pictures showed how he sponsored politicians in Niger State and how he sponsors people into office. So you wonder, what exactly is the will? Are these people not, are they not the ones who are looking for
of this entire
process?
The average kidnapper that has been released, most of them, when they give their reports, the average kidnapper that was arrested, say they get 10,000 naira, 50,000 naira. So who collects the millions?
The millions.
Who is collecting the millions? How is the millions being transported?
So I was saying that, you know, it's obvious that we don't have the will. If we have kidnappers who Abba Kyari's team was supposed to be the high-profile team, where's this team? Why were they unable to have Evans, at least by now, facing a full sentence for what he did? We had witnesses on Evans' case who were willing, you know, who had details. The reports in the papers were detailed all through. How many years after? Evans is even suing the federal government for his fundamental human rights now.
Yes.
And we have Wadumi. 3 lives lost, families displaced, because, you know, the families of members of those 3 high police officers who went on that impossible mission to arrest Wadumi are now, you know, displaced because their breadwinners have been killed. If not for anything, justice for those 3 family members, government must sit on it and say, okay, no, I must make an example of this so that I deter others. One of the highest, you know, job of law is to deter criminals. But we fail every time.
These pictures are so
The videos are really, really, really bad.
When you